And feeling about this.
Bro. So, Andor, Season 1, one of the best things that has come out of Disney-run Lucasfilm in recent memory. Obviously, you had Rogue One, which is where the Cassian Andor character came from. And then Season 1 of Andor was very good. In fact, it was one of the best things I'd watched. Unfortunately, it wasn't very well received. Not a lot of people watched it, and it wasn't rated very high. So they renewed it for the Season 2 afterwards when people actually realized it was good. And yeah, so this is actually one of the more expensive projects. It's roughly around $40 million an episode, around $700 million for both seasons, and the first season ran around like $200 million. This one's about to be like $500 million. So, very expensive show. Already the first 3 episodes are at $120 million, which is more than the entire Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Which is baffling to me, because nothing fucking happens in 3 whole episodes. I'm not even joking right now. This was the most boring thing I had ever watched, ever. I had more fun watching Acolyte, and I fucking hate Acolyte. At least Acolyte was terrible in like an entertaining way. At least, Obi-Wan Kenobi was infuriating. It wasn't more fun than watching Kenobi. But Ahsoka was even more fun, and I hated Ahsoka. At least Ahsoka had some moments that could entertain you. This one is 3 whole episodes of fucking nothing. I'm genuinely disappointed.
Disappointed!
I literally put that in the Discord of my reaction to watching this. And guys, I'm not even joking. Well, let's go ahead and hop into what actually happens. So in the first 3 episodes, the premiere episodes, there's about 4 different plot lines that are overlapping. They went with the first formula of kind of mixing and matching people's storylines. So you have Cassian's storyline, you have Mon Mothma's storyline, Director Krennic's storyline, and then you have the survivors from Fennec, the planet from Season 1 where the brick ceremony happened. The people from there. And in Episode 1, it introduces you to those 4 plot lines. And then in Episode 2, they change one of the storylines for a storyline between Cyril and Deidre, which I don't give a fuck about. We'll start with the beginning of Episode 1. The beginning of Episode 1, essentially, Cassian is hijacking a Sinar facility. So if you don't know, Sinar Technologies is the one that developed the TIE Fighters. They're the ones that invented the TIE Fighters. They're in line with like Kuwat drive yards and Corellian shipping lanes and the Mon Calamari story. They're like one of the top starfighter manufacturers. So essentially it starts off with he's in the facility and he steals a prototype TIE fighter, which at least I imagine is a prototype TIE fighter. It kind of looks like an interceptor, except it has wings going off the back. This could have been a design from Rogue Squadron that I'm forgetting, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't think this is like a pre-established starfighter design. First of all, why is the Empire developing it? Which first of all doesn't make any sense to me, because the whole purpose of Thrawn's Defender program is that they're TIE fighters that have hyperdrives and shields and all that good stuff, and life support. And this one that Cassian steals has all that shit on it, and it's apparently a design that he's never seen before, and he doesn't know how to fly. And essentially, it's the escape attempt. He doesn't know how to fly it, so he tries to escape with it. That's the first part of the storyline. The second storyline that's introduced is the survivors from Fennec are on this wheat field planet where there's going through an Imperial audit while they're there. I know. Fascinating. Who the fuck? Who cares about that? The most interesting thing was Cassian stealing a TIE fighter. And then that's the other story. The third storyline is Mon Mothma is on Chandrilla, and I'll be 100% honest, guys, I liked the Mon Mothma stuff in Season 1. I liked her being on Coruscant. I liked the politics. I liked her maneuvering around all of this Imperial oversight while she's trying to secretly fund this rebellion and trying to get away with it. That was cool. This is shit. It's just her daughter's wedding. Is the entirety of the first 3 episodes. The plotline for Mon Mothma is her daughter's wedding. And while she's there, Luthen is there, and he's secretly trying to wait for word from Cassian, and he's just there, I'm glad he's back. I like Skarsgård. He does great with the character. I enjoyed that character. He doesn't do anything in these first 3 episodes of any significance. So there's that. And then the final plot line that's introduced in episode 1 is a meeting between Krennic and other Imperial members, including like these 2 guys from their propaganda arm, the Department of like Media Image. It's their propaganda division. And then Deidre is there. The other ISB agent from season 1 is there. And essentially during this meeting, he talks about how Gorman, the planet, has the whole purpose. He shows this slideshow of the planet. It's like a travel ad or an advertisement for the planet. They have these spiders that live there that spend the entire day weaving webs. They use the webs to make silk. They use the silk to make clothing. It's apparently a very popular clothing line in the galaxy. Fine. And then after he shows this video, Krennic essentially tells the people who are assembled there that there is a mineral on the planet called calcite.
Deep substrate foliated calcite.
Which is used for somehow stabilizing energy reactors, sustainable energy reactors, is what he's trying to say. The Emperor wants to make a completely sustainable energy source, which I'm going ahead and call it now. I think this is they're trying to find sustainable energy sources since Krennic is involved, probably for the Death Star, which means they're probably going to somehow segue into choosing kyber crystals as their fuel source. I don't know what. But for now, the name of the game, calcite.
Calcite. Synthetic calcite. Calcite alternatives.
Propane and propane accessories.
And what essentially they're there to do is to come up with a way to occupy the planet and take the calcite without the planet rebelling, essentially. So they want to find a way to sneak in there and start drilling out the planet. And they're talking about how to do so would destabilize the planet. They would have to remove all the Gormans off the planet somehow. And that's what that whole meeting is about. I will say, in that first episode, this plot line is interesting. I actually like this because it's the Empire with their machinations, like how do we use propaganda? How do we somehow convince people to evacuate? We're already building a military base nearby, so once this is there, we can move in very quickly and get this done. I thought this was all really, really cool. And then it's never mentioned again for the next 2 episodes. It's gone. See, episode 1 is the only time this shit's ever mentioned. It was the coolest thing in the episode, and that was it. They replaced this with a dinner scene between Cyril and Deidre and Cyril's mom. You know, the fucking storyline everyone cares about. A way too long dinner scene where essentially the mom's constantly embarrassing him. He's being a little prissy bitch. And then Deidre comes in and says, listen here, Missy, you're going to be nice to your son. Or I'm going to make sure he doesn't ever see you again. It's stupid. It's a stupid scene. It's boring. Boring is the name of the game of these first 3 episodes. Unlike the Acolyte, where I could go step by step through the episode, point out what is nitpicky about it, what I don't like about it as it goes along, this one is just nothing. I can cover all 3 episodes in the span of a 20-minute video somehow. It's crazy. The Cassian scenes are, again, boring. For some reason, they can't make the show Andor about Andor because people aren't attached enough to him, because we all know he dies in Rogue One. That was the problem we had with Season 1. Season 1, I didn't care anything about Andor's storyline. The prison scene was cool. Other than that, I didn't care about him. And I still have that problem because they don't have him do anything in these first 3 episodes. The first 2 episodes, after he leaves the Sinar Industries, he's having trouble flying this TIE fighter. He lands it on a rendezvous point where he was supposed to hand it off to, I would argue, probably one of Luthen's people. Either Luthen's people or Saw Gerrera's people. He's iffy about where he got his orders from. It might be for Saw Gerrera, it might be for Luthen, it might be for some other rebellion cell. Anyway, he meets it there. The guy who was supposed to meet him there was killed by the locals, who were part of a rebellion garrison who were abandoned there, I guess. And he spends the next episode and a half handcuffed on the floor of the destroyed ship and doesn't fucking do anything. Meanwhile, this group of outsiders is just constantly arguing. There's a mutiny that happens and they all go at each other, and it isn't until the beasts that live on the planet start picking them off that Cassian's able to escape. And I'm not even joking. There is one part in this scene that made me go, what the actual fuck is happening? There's this part where the survivors from the shipwreck, from the garrison that was there, that they're mutinying on each other, they meet together, and I guess they're trying to like settle who's the leader in this operation. And what they do, and I'm not fucking kidding, this is not a joke, they start playing rock, paper, scissors very loudly, mind you. And meanwhile, while they're doing this rock, paper, scissors and making a fuck ton of noise, while that's happening, the beasts come and attack them like, oh, maybe you guys standing in the middle of the open and making a bunch of noise might not have been the best fucking idea. And that is how Cassian is able to escape. And that's the end of episode 2, when he just leaves. Meanwhile, during this whole thing, we're still at Mon Mothma's daughter's wedding, which, it's a wedding. She's just looking nervous and annoyed, and there's this one scene where she's trying to tell her daughter, by the way, you don't have to do this, and it doesn't pay off at all because she ends up going through with it anyway. Obviously, maybe it's the reason because she had an arranged marriage and she didn't like it. There's probably some overlay between her and her daughter, but it's not interesting. I don't care about it. It's not political machinations. It's not Mon Mothma trying to skirt past Imperial security. It's just Mon Mothma being a bad mom, and I hate watching this. And then the other plot line, obviously, is the Fennec survivors who are just on this wheat planet, and there's an Imperial audit happening. And during this Imperial audit, the guy who's the lieutenant who's in charge of it suddenly goes towards Nyx, Cassian's sister, and he grapes her. He tries to sexually assault her because that's what we need in Star Wars. Like, why? Like, we already know the Empire is bad. You guys don't have to beat us over the head with it. We're aware. We don't need this kind of shit to make us hate the Empire. It's just a terrible, awful thing that they throw in for some weird-ass reason. This happens in episode 3. In episode 2, it gets kind of announced. Or it kind of gets introduced, is the concept of this guy's a creep, and he tries to, like, coax Nyx. And it's annoying. It's what it is. I don't know why they put it in there. It's terrible. And then episode 3. I know, I'm already on episode 3. 15 minutes in, and we're already on episode 3. There's not a whole lot to cover. In fact, the best way I can describe these first 3 episodes, is the description of the first episode on Disney Plus, right there. An undercover mission, a sanctuary threatened, a Chandrillan wedding, a chilling Imperial plan. That is what it says for the first episode of Andor, the description, and that is literally all that happens in the first 3 episodes. It's all it covers. Nothing else happens. And then Bratzo from season 1, you might remember him from season 1. He dies, and that's the only tangible thing that has happened in these first 3 episodes. Is he dies. That's it. That's what all the lead up was for. Nothing else of substantial value happens. There is one other plot line that is currently going on that happens in episode 3. The only other thing that happens in episode 3 is Tay, the banker friend of Mon Mothma, he's plastered at this party. Apparently what's going on is his wife is separated from him right now. He's having financial troubles. They think, the Luthen thinks that he's in danger of blowing their whole operation because Mon Mothma was about to tell him about the rebellion. And what happens at the end of episode 3 is he's being escorted away. His driver was replaced by the spy from season 1, whose name I also still can't remember. She takes over for his driver, and she's driving away with him. Maybe because Luthen's trying to tie up loose ends? Don't know. I guess we'll find out in episode 4. All in all, I would say if I wasn't covering this show for this channel, I would have gotten bored of it. I had more fun watching Skeleton Crew, and I didn't finish Skeleton Crew. That's how boring this show is. Like, I actually enjoyed watching Skeleton Crew, but I didn't finish it. I just kind of lost interest in it. But this show, oh my god, I cannot believe how expensive this show is for nothing but dialogue. There's barely any special effects. The only special effect I can possibly think of is the TIE fighter that Cassian steals, the beast that ambushes people on the stranded planet, and the speeder scene at the end of episode 3. Other than that, I don't know where all this money went or came from or went anywhere. It baffles me. And honestly, if they cost this much money to shoot this show, I don't understand how any of the movies that are coming out in the near future that they've announced at Star Wars Celebration are going to be more than or less than $400-500 million. If it took them $40 million an episode to record this fucking show, and nothing's happening. All in all, I'm disappointed. I can't believe that this show is this boring. And the worst part of it is the episodes are an hour apiece. The first episode is an hour, the second episode is 45 minutes, and the third episode is an hour. That's almost 3 hours. It's 2.5 hours of show, and nothing happened. That's all of A New Hope. That's an entire movie, and they couldn't do anything. This is the biggest problem with the industry right now for TV shows, is they don't have to make pilots anymore. So they can't make a self-contained story in the first episode that has conflict, tension, resolution, climax, whole story structure in one episode to get you hooked. This entire show is, don't worry guys, next episode, shit's gonna happen. Next episode, don't worry guys, next episode, shit's gonna happen. It's all set up. It took us an hour and a half to set up the final third episode. And in that third episode, nothing fucking happens except Cassian killing a few stormtroopers and one of the guys from season 1 dying. That's all that happened in episode 3. Supposed to be the climax of this mini arc, because the way the show is supposed to be structured is it's 3 episode segments where there's a time skip between each episode, and this season should end right before Rogue One happens, and that's how this is going to work. This takes place 4 years before A New Hope. So, and it says a year later, so it's supposed to be like, I think yearly time skips is what they're going for here. If that's their structure, this show is going to do terribly, because this 3 episodes did nothing. This is a whole movie time, and they didn't accomplish anything in the stretch of this whole show. I'm flabbergasted. I can't believe that the quality drop was so immense between season 1 and 2. I mean, this is Hollywood now, I suppose. But what do you guys think? If any of you watch the show, leave your comments below. Let me know how you feel. We'll keep on going. We're going to keep going as these episodes release. We're just going to keep on chugging. I'll see you guys next time. We got our Y-Wing podcast should be coming out probably before this episode airs, because I'm recording this like 4 hours before we do the podcast. So we'll probably talk about this on the podcast. Leave a comment below, like and subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we will see you guys for the next video, which will probably be the next 3 episodes of Andor. See you next time.